In today's global economy, tariffs, taxes on imported goods, are powerful tools that can reshape entire industries. The Trump administration's recent 50% tariff on a wide range of imports marks a dramatic escalation of the America First trade agenda. The stated goal: protect American jobs and manufacturing by making foreign goods more expensive, hoping to drive production back to U.S. soil. This sweeping policy isn't targeted at one country or sector. It impacts imports from nearly every corner of the globe. The move has sent shockwaves through international markets, forcing trading partners to rethink their strategies. The administration hopes these tariffs will force new, more favorable trade deals, fundamentally shifting global economic power. But this bold approach is a direct challenge to the principles of free trade that have defined international commerce for decades. The new tariffs touch nearly every aspect of American life: electronics, cars, textiles, even pharmaceuticals. The administration envisioned a manufacturing boom, with factories reopening and jobs returning. But the reality has been starkly different. American businesses, deeply reliant on global supply chains, now face soaring costs for imported parts and materials. Many companies can't simply switch to domestic production overnight. Building new factories and training workers takes years. The result? Higher prices for consumers on everything from smartphones to groceries. Businesses are forced to pass these costs along, squeezing household budgets nationwide. Instead of revitalizing industry, the tariffs have disrupted production and made American companies less competitive. The assumption that tariffs would quickly restore domestic manufacturing has proven to be a costly miscalculation. The pain is immediate, while any potential gains remain distant. Canada, one of America's closest trading partners, was hit hard. Canadian industries, from lumber to auto parts, suddenly found their largest market out of reach, threatening jobs and sparking fears of recession. Farmers and manufacturers across Canada scrambled to find new buyers as U.S. demand evaporated. India, too, faced a major setback. Its booming exports of pharmaceuticals, textiles, and IT services to the U.S. were suddenly uncompetitive. India's generic drug industry, vital for affordable American medicines, was especially hard hit. The tariffs were seen as a unilateral move, pushing India to seek new alliances and markets. Both nations viewed the policy as a breach of fair trade, forcing them to rethink their economic strategies. The ripple effects were immediate: lost jobs, falling exports, and a scramble to adapt. The U.S. had inadvertently pushed its partners to look elsewhere. Facing a common threat, Canada and India forged a new alliance, the Canada-India Trade Resilience Partnership. They fast-tracked a bilateral trade agreement, eliminating tariffs and opening new markets for each other's goods. Canadian lumber and grains found eager buyers in India, while Indian textiles and pharmaceuticals flowed into Canada. Joint investments in logistics and manufacturing created a new economic corridor, bypassing the U.S. This partnership became a model for other nations, sparking talk of a broader coalition committed to open markets. Instead of isolating rivals, the U.S. tariffs inspired new global trade networks that excluded America. The impact of the tariffs hit American families and businesses fast. Prices on everyday goods, from electronics to clothing to cars, jumped sharply, straining household budgets. The housing market suffered as construction costs soared, putting home ownership out of reach for many. Small businesses, unable to absorb higher costs for imported parts, faced layoffs or closure. Even large corporations saw profits fall and exports drop as other countries retaliated. The policy meant to help American businesses often hurt them instead. The result: job losses, shuttered stores, and a wave of economic pain across the country. The promised prosperity failed to materialize. Rather than forcing concessions, the tariffs rewired global trade. China, once a top buyer of American goods, turned to Brazil and Argentina for agricultural imports. Europe and Asia strengthened their own trade blocs, leaving the U.S. increasingly isolated. The EU and Japan expanded free trade agreements, creating powerful networks that excluded American exporters. Global investment shifted away from the U.S. to countries with more stable trade policies. The Canada-India partnership was just one example of nations bypassing the U.S. to build resilient supply chains. American companies lost market share, and the hoped-for manufacturing revival never arrived. The world learned to trade without America at the center. The tariffs, meant to restore U.S. dominance, instead accelerated its decline in global influence. The global economy adapted and left the U.S. behind. By late 2025, the results of the 50% tariff policy are clear. Instead of a manufacturing renaissance, the U.S. faces higher prices, lost jobs, and damaged alliances. New trade networks like the Canada-India partnership are here to stay, reducing America's central role in global commerce. The world has learned not to rely on the U.S. market, a lesson that won't be forgotten soon. The dream of quick gains has given way to the reality of long-term fragmentation and diminished influence. The tariffs serve as a cautionary tale. In a connected world, unilateral moves can backfire. Rather than strengthening the nation, protectionism has left America more isolated and less competitive. The harm for now far outweighs the help. The